You're listening to Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum. I have allergies, and my eye is really red, and hopefully you won't see it. Don't zoom in. Don't be a dick. I'm going to continue. Hi, Ryan.
Well, Jeez. You're a well of problems today.
Yeah, I am. I am a well of problems. This dog, I'm allergic to the dog. I've got these allergies. I went to the doctor. I got these eye drops. I got this cream. Nothing's really happening. I'm not sleeping. I haven't slept much in the last 2 months. I'm up I usually try to sleep 8 hours. Now I'm sleeping average 4.5, 5 with the dog. It's getting a little better, but something's causing my irritation. And I don't know. Is it just allergies?
I sure hope so.
I want to thank everybody for listening to the podcast, and a good shout out to my patrons. I talk about this a lot, but Inside of You and Talkville, we really have success, some success, or I'd say it's working because of the patron family who give back to the show. So all I'll say is if you really enjoy the show and you want to give back more, go to patreon.com/insideofyou and become a patron. I'll message you, and it really helps the show, and there's lots of perks. I send packages like boxes of merch and little notes. I write them all. I pack them, and so there's that. I do want to talk about a couple little things. First, our handles, Ryan.
At Inside of You Pod on Twitter, at Inside of You Podcast on Instagram and Facebook.
Thank you, Ryan.
Yeah.
And a big shout out to Warren Eckstein, my uncle. It was a great episode last week. If you didn't listen to it and you're here for Gates McFadden, I understand, but it was the first time I interviewed a family member, and it was really fascinating. And he's like a pet expert and author, and people really loved it. So whether, you want to take a listen to me and my uncle have a chat about life and things, it's interesting. It really is. I was surprised how interesting it would be. Not that he wouldn't be interesting.
No, he's very interesting.
Yeah. He really was. Yeah. He is. A few charities I want to just mention. One is this charity that I can't go to, but I want to. But it's called Crazy Game of Hockey Charity Weekend, and you can go get tickets. It's for the Wild Foundation charity, and wild.com/crazygame. You can get tickets. There's July 8th is a charity hockey game at 12:30 with teams compiled of alumni, current NHL players, musicians, celebrities. OAR, the band, and Corey Wong concert at the Armory. Pretty cool. A lot of great stuff. It's July 7th and 8th in Minneapolis. It's in St. Paul. Crazy Game of Hockey. Wild.com/crazygame.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah. And also just a shout out to Food on Foot for the homeless problem that we have in not only this country, but in the state of California. My dogs are barking. Foodonfoot.org if you want to give to the homeless crisis here in Los Angeles. Great charity. Rob, who's in Sunspin, the band with me, he is head of marketing or does all that. Also, Animal Rescue Mission, my friend Shira's charity. And I've never seen someone so passionate about, it just stresses her out constantly because she's always saving animals. And she's like, well, I want to act more. And I'm like, because she's done a lot of stuff. But I'm like, hey, this is like a purpose. You have a purpose. You're saving animals. You're rescuing animals. That's a huge thing. So kudos to Shira and the Animal Rescue Mission if you want to get back to that. And Echoes of Hope for Foster Youth. That is an amazing charity. Luke and Stacia Robitaille, speaking of hockey. The Inside of You online store is available. Tons of cool merch. A lot more Smallville stuff coming. New tumblers that you have to see. And that's there. I will be in Niagara Falls this coming weekend for a con. Very excited about that. And then look for me elsewhere at other cons. And I might be going to Wales again. I know we had to cancel, or the trip was canceled, but I talked to Jamie, the promoter, and we're going to see what we could do in November, try to get me out there again. We're working on it. I just have to see if I can, if my schedule is available. But I want to say thank you to everybody. Patrons, you rock. We did a Zoom with all the top tier patrons, and it was a blast. And then we did another one with Talkville. You could also get Zooms on Talkville and tons of other stuff. So thanks for listening to the podcast. This guest is just, she was phenomenal. She looks fantastic. I hope I look half her age when I'm her age. Gates McFadden. We talk Star Trek. We talk life. We talk about career. We talk about, she's so honest and open about, what it's like to be a woman. And, as you're getting older, it's hard enough as a man and a woman, but for women, it appears to be harder, especially for work. And it's crap because she's phenomenal, and I can see her on so many things. So have I said a lot, or is that bad?
It's fine. We'll cut it out.
Okay, Jason, cut my ums out. My friend Connor, he's Irish, and he always goes instead of like we go I don't know. He goes yesterday was like, so he goes I don't know why he does that, but I like it. It's cute.
They do vowels different.
They do vowels differently. I think you're throwing it forward when you're speaking the Irish accent.
Cards on the table.
Cards on the table. Sheep steering whom bastard.
Cards on the table.
Speaking of Irish, I think Gates McFadden, is she Irish? I'm not sure.
Could be Scottish.
Could be Scottish. Could be English.
Oh, man.
I'm really bombing. Doesn't matter. I love you guys. Enjoy this episode. I know you will. We've had a lot of Star Trek people on lately because they're phenomenal, and I'm going to have more if you're digging this. So write into the show. And without further ado, let's get into Gates McFadden. I love you, lady.
It's my point of view. You're listening to Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum. Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum was not recorded in front of a live studio audience.
Gates,
yes,
you walk in here and you're already a bundle of energy and joy.
Oh.
I mean, I could tell you're a little stressed because you're traveling tomorrow.
Yeah.
And the drive over here wasn't as easy as you thought.
I know.
Where are you coming from without giving your address?
Well, I was coming from Beechwood Bronson area, but it was that I thought I remembered where the route was to Jonathan's, and I went up the wrong street. I went up. So I'm going up there assuming I'm doing right, and I went, wait a minute, this is not looking familiar at all. Anyway,
yeah,
I figured it out, but I couldn't get my GPS to work when I was up in the canyon.
Oh,
so luckily, the Amazon delivery guy
helped you out.
He did. He said, "Heads up, this is not. That's up the road. The GPS in the canyon is not great.
Spotty, shoddy."
Or doesn't exist in certain areas.
Here's the deal, though.
Okay.
Do you have Waze?
I don't. I used to.
It's an app. I use it. Now, the thing that sucks is now my road is sort of a shortcut for people, and now there's more cars than there ever was. And so it pisses me off.
Okay.
Frankly.
I'll keep that in mind.
I actually, when people drive down my street fast, I'm one of those old guys like, slow down.
Right.
One guy stopped. He was going so fast and he stopped and he started to back up. I don't know what was in my mind, but I ran after him like,
Ooh.
Oh, yeah. And he sped off. Like, he's like, this guy's crazy. But if I didn't, I think he would have been trying to beat me up or something.
No, that's why I love this show, Beef. I mean, it is just so fabulous how...
Beef?
I get road rage, I sometimes have, and then other times I'm super polite, and I'm like, absolutely. Just go right in before me. Absolutely. Oh, you know what? Two of you. Go ahead. I've got time. And then there are other times like, don't you... like I will slap you up. Oh God, yeah.
Do you throw F-bombs at people in cars?
No, I don't. No, I don't usually do that.
You're not an F-bomber.
No. I'm a get the rifle. No, I'm not. I just really, there are times when there's certain people who like to just speed up, and they've been going illegally, and then they want to speed up and get in before you, and yeah. I suss them out because we actually think alike. But I've chosen that day to be kind, and so then I don't let them in, and they get very aggressive. But it just doesn't bother me.
Do you ever pull up next to someone and just look at them?
Yeah.
And do they ever look back?
Yeah.
And do they ever say, F you?
Yeah.
And what do you do?
I just give them a peace sign.
Just give them peace?
Yep. But if I'm wrong, I always apologize to somebody.
Wow.
Like I do a whole wave and I'm sorry and thank you and,
So I would say just by hearing this and hearing from Brent Spiner and hearing from Jonathan Frakes, this is one big family. And I buy it, but I'm like, every family has dysfunction.
Oh, of course.
So,
But we actually are friends. Like, we know what drives us crazy about the other person, but then we also love them for. It doesn't bother us.
Right.
Like Brent will say, "Oh God, that is so you, Gates." Right? It's that sort of thing. Now, if that was my husband, it would not be done in that way, probably. Right?
Really?
Well, you know,
Oh, that's so Gates.
it's different. We kind of love each other for the idiosyncrasies at this point. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of cool, you know?
It is.
It's unusual.
Because I remember at the airport or something, you and Jonathan were goofing around like, "Oh, Brent, late again."
Yeah.
Or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
And I was
Yeah.
like, I didn't know, like, but you guys obviously joke and have a rapport. Like, and your son he's the godfather of your son.
That's right, he is.
Brent Spiner is.
That's right. He's the Jewish godfather.
Now-
Don't tell the Lithuanian priest, though, will you please?
Why?
Because he thought it was pretty funny. I had 2 Jewish godparents. This was for my mother, of course.
Right.
And that he was really looking at me like, you have ruined this child's soul. And Brent has always said, okay, if you die, I'm bringing him up Jewish, as if I mean, it's just funny.
You know, I have a godson, and I didn't want it. In fact,
Really?
yeah. So Tom Arnold, good friend of mine, kind of got me in the business years ago. I don't see him very often anymore. He's got his own life, but he's like him and one of his ex-wives called me and and they said, "Hey, we thought about it and we want you to be Jax's godfather." And I immediately was like, "No, don't make me the god." No, buddy,
Why?
buddy. He goes,
Why?
"Buddy, you don't have to do anything. Just show up at his bar mitzvah or something like that. You don't have to you're not like." So in the beginning, I felt like, I went to his birthday, I sent him presents, and I'm like, I'm not, I can't. I'm a single dude, whatever. So I felt this pressure, and now it's been a while since I've even seen him. Is Brent sort of hands-on? Does he call your son and, "Hey, how are you?"
Oh yeah, I mean,
shit.
every month he sends him, a couple grand, and
Stop it! You're a liar.
no, Brent's been great. He's been very much there. Every birthday, he never forgets. He doesn't forget Christmas. He always does something for those 2 times. And when he was, when your son's growing up in particular, and when Brent would he took him to one of the things when it was Pinocchio and it was an opening, and he would do things with them. And
Even now?
No,
Even now.
yeah, they go and they sing songs together and they play. And no, my son's got a whole life and career.
How old is he?
My son is going to be 32.
Wow.
Yeah, and so yeah.
How do you look so good? I'm not blowing smoke, but how do you look so good? Because I'm telling you,
Yeah.
I have seen women a lot younger or men that don't look, that's my puppy, that don't look like you. You just seem together. The way you dress, your style, your face. You just have this this innate youthfulness about you.
Well, mon Dieu. Well, I actually...
What do you do?
What do I do? Well, I've always done a tremendous amount of moving around. I move. Like I do.
Choreographer.
No, I'm a choreographer, but I also did tons of anything movement. I mean, I did Tai Chi, I did karate, I did Aikido. I've tried just about everything you can do. And I just like it. So my energy always is moving around. Like if I'm reading something, I'm sometimes doing pliés. It's just me, It's not that I'm a dancer. I don't think of that I'm really a dancer. Although I could tap dance for you right now, but I'm not going to.
There's not enough room in it, but I'd say do it.
Oh no. Oh yeah, you can do
can
it.
do it
I
over
would just
there.
ruin your wooden floors.
I wouldn't care.
Yeah.
The puppy I have, Charlie, is ruining my fucking hardwood floors.
Well, anyway, I think it is an attitude thing.
How do you eat?
I eat now. I have these major gluten and dairy allergies, which just
Yeah, they developed for
sucks.
me too.
Really?
Yeah. I
So I had a guy when I was 24 in New York, and I was still teaching at universities then, and I was, acting and different stuff. And he did this test, and he said, you're really allergic to gluten and dairy. And I was like, yeah, that's like all I eat. So
shut up.
And yeah, and then he said, no, you really are. And he got me very scared. So I tried to go macrobiotic, which is all you could do then. Because if you go into a deli, there's nothing gluten-free or without dairy. I mean, come on. So I did my best. I failed. And then I went back to, eating gluten and dairy. And then I started to get migraines, and they would last finally for 3 days. And the day I stopped gluten and dairy, I didn't have another migraine. So I knew that there was truth. And then if I would start to cheat, I would start to get a headache. I could feel that was going to turn into a migraine. Yeah. So it's a drag, and I have to be very careful. For different periods, I was vegetarian. I don't eat any red meat and stuff like that. But I don't think that has really anything to do with...
Yeah, my grandmother, Blanche, who's 95 in June.
Oh, you
Love
named
her.
your dog after Blanche.
Well, yeah, and she's still alive. Oh. And my other dog was Irv, who's named... And my grandfather was like, what the hell are you naming him Irv? I'm not even dead. But Blanche is one of those that it just defies like all science. It's one of those things where I go, she doesn't drink water. Get out of here. I go, you gotta hydrate. I haven't hydrated in 94 years. What am I gonna do?
She's my kind of gal.
And she's like, she'll eat whatever she wants, and she does this, and all her foods were fatty and oily, and and so she's 95. She's still walking around. She walks better than my 76-year-old grandmother.
Wow.
Or my mother. This episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. BetterHelp online therapy. I talk about therapy all the time and mental health, and this is what the podcast is all about. And I can't say enough about BetterHelp. They've been a great sponsor, and I think it's because it helps people, and it's simple and affordable. And, I know how much therapy can cost. Ryan, you've seen these guys in California or everywhere. It's just like they charge a fortune per hour, and it actually is added stress.
Yep.
So you're going into therapy stress, but BetterHelp to me is just the way to go. If you're worried about, the stigma it's going away. People now, if people train to get their muscles, your brain needs working out. It needs therapy. You need therapy. We need therapy. And you could talk about anything. You'd be surprised what little things that you don't think are big. And you talk to them about a therapist, and you're like, oh, that's why I do that. Oh, you find so much rewarding things about yourself that you can turn around, you could change, you could work on, and you have somebody there who's a trained professional. And with everything that's going on around us, it can be hard to focus on our well-being. And many are stretched thin and burned out from the candle burning, both ends. And that's me. And you forget about you. Therapy is important. You need caring, compassionate people who want to take care of you. And those are found at BetterHelp.com. This totally online source for therapy has helped thousands find peace of mind and direction during these trying times. BetterHelp.com understands we all need to develop better coping skills and ways to set boundaries to empower us to become the best version of ourselves. Let me recommend BetterHelp.com if you're considering trying therapy. It's a quick questionnaire, and you'll be matched with a licensed therapist. And guess what? You can cancel at any time. You can quit a therapist and say, that's not working. He or she is not working, or they're not, it's not working, and go to someone else. Find someone else. That's it's a process. Sometimes you get lucky. Boom, first one. Ryan changed one time.
I did.
And now it's great.
It's great. I've been with this one for over a year.
But there you go. From the horse's mouth. No offense. Find more balance with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/inside today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/inside.
Well, see, I think it depends on your metabolism. It's like I have one cat. One's really heavy and one's really thin. And the cat who's thinner has this metabolism that goes crazy. And I think I have that sort of a fast-burning metabolism. But, who knows? I don't know. I'm told every time I go to the doctor, you need to drink more water. The woman who was my Thai, I was going to go for a little Thai acupuncture. And she said, stick out your tongue. And I stuck out my tongue, and she went... the look of horror on her face. And she was like, you need to drink more water. I was like, okay, do you have some? I'll drink it. It looked like I was going to die. I have to force myself to drink water.
Can you hand me that water right there next to you?
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. See, we're going to both.
Well, you're making me want to drink water. Let's have a little drink of water.
I'm trying.
Guys out there, drink water.
I'm trying. I really have problems. I don't really have a normal thirst all the time, right? Anyway.
You know why? Water's boring.
Well,
But you gotta
no,
do it.
You have to. It's.
I never do. I always like A&W root beer or grape juice, sugary shit, and it's probably.
Where did you grow up?
You grew up in Ohio.
Yeah, did you?
I grew up in Indiana. I was born in New York, but I grew up in a small town in Indiana, southern Indiana.
All right. So there's something we have in common.
Yep. You were Akron?
Akron. Yep. LeBron James and me and Pat Benatar, Akron General Hospital.
They've got a great Nights Inn motel that we used to stay in on our way to New York.
Like what? Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You could have called up my folks. They would have, you could have stayed.
They would have housed me?
No, they wouldn't have.
My dad, I almost said, God bless his soul, he's alive. My father, he was a frugal man. He is a frugal man. But we would go to these motels, Ryan. We would go to these motels, and it'd be me, my sister, brother, little brother, mom, dad.
Wow.
2 beds and a cot in one room. And the hotel was probably $39 a night.
Right.
I'm like, get 2 rooms.
I know.
And not only that, but I'm doing armpit farts till like 2 a.m. And my dad's pissed, but he's kind of laughing, but he's pissed. Cut it out. Damn it.
See, that's the kind of motel rooms that I cleaned one summer for trying to earn money for college. Yeah.
Really? Clean motels?
I did one summer.
I bet you find some stuff.
Oh, God. They had a little envelope that said, little envelope for the maid. I cannot tell you how many pubic hairs I would find in that envelope.
Oh, my God.
Oh, people would really do horribly, but they were down with their friends drinking parties and stuff.
And laying out pubes.
I guess.
I mean, that's what they're doing.
I mean, really, it was pretty gross. But it did teach me I don't want to do that for a living.
Yeah. Were your parents cool growing up? Did you have a good family?
I adored my parents growing up. I just, I looked up to them. They pushed us. My mother in particular really pushed my brother and me hard. I mean, we were
in
like
just
everything. Like we had to just do everything.
Cleaning, studying,
everything. Girl Scouts had to do a sport. I had to do violin. The poor teacher, my poor Russian teacher, he would go. It was Arpad Garinsky and Arpad, and he'd go, Sherilyn, you got to practice. And I would have just done like 10 minutes before he arrived, right? But there were just too many activities. And every night I'd go to the dance studio for like hours after school. And I think in retrospect, I don't know, I never asked my mother this because it only has occurred to me really late in life. Everyone's always freaked out when they see how bad my scoliosis is. I have a really bad scoliosis.
Really?
Yeah. And I suspect that the doctor, when I was born, said, the good news is she's alive. The bad news is she's got a really bad scoliosis. And I think my mother she had me doing dance when I was 2.5 years old.
So it made it worse.
No, it made it better.
You think it made it better? Movement and...
God, yes.
Yeah, I understand that because I've had a lot of back surgeries, a lot of back problems.
Have you?
But when like 8 spine surgeries. But when I'm stagnant, when I'm not doing a lot, I feel like it's worse. When I actually go and do things, it's good for the brain, but it also, which your brain and the pain are kind of connected.
Arthritis is also something that it's worse if you don't move. It's really weird. You really have to get the blood circulating and do stuff. I was told like 20 years ago, I needed a knee replacement right away. And I said, nah, I ain't not doing it. And I've really worked on just building up the muscles around. And I'm still good. I can't go up and down on one leg like I used to, but I can at least do a ton of stuff. I think it's really about, I don't claim to take care of myself that well. I just...
genetics.
Well, my grandmother did when she was 100. She did have beautiful skin, I gotta say.
100?
We had longevity in my...
Are your parents still alive?
No, they both died within a year of each other. It was really tough. My mother got uterine cancer. My dad had ALS. It was pretty brutal. So
When was this?
This was right... It's kind of when I stopped going up for anything, and my agents said, you're not going up for anything, goodbye. That was like, I don't know, 35 years ago.
Wow. It's been a while since that happened.
Maybe that's too much. Yeah, it's too much.
But you still
So 20 years ago.
They say, I could feel this with, with my grandmother who passed, and I could feel it with my dog, where you still think about them.
Oh, all the time.
All the time. I still want to call my grandmother.
Right.
516-678-5075. I know the number.
But what's great is actually I was really off. I don't think it was that far. I think it was like about 15 years ago that happened. Maybe, I don't know. How old am I? I have no idea. But at any rate, I have no idea. It was just a horrible period, and it was awful because it was like right in that 1 year I lost them both. But I would say about 2 years afterwards, like I felt them always with me. It was like, okay, they're part of me. It's cool. And I wasn't missing them in the same way. Like I'd sort of like, I felt their presence in me.
Right.
And that was kind of nice. But when I went away to college, I would hear someone on the phone and they'd be going, all right, you bitch. Yeah, okay, goodbye. And I'd go, oh my God, who was that? My mom, And I'm like, what?
Wow.
It didn't even occur to me.
You never talk like that to your
I
parents.
never did.
I couldn't refer to my mother as she, or my dad would get pissed. Well, she said, don't you refer to your mother as
Really?
she. Well, it.
Oh, yeah.
You couldn't do that.
Where'd you go to college?
I went to a school called Western Kentucky University, the Hilltoppers.
Okay, I've heard of that. I graduated from Brandeis.
Brandeis?
And I taught at Brandeis for 6 years.
Didn't you also
too.
teach at Harvard and Pittsburgh?
I taught 2 seminars at Harvard, and I've taught. Yeah, I was not full-time faculty at Harvard. I was full-time faculty at like several schools, but I taught at a bunch, like Brandeis full-time.
Wow!
I taught Marta Kaufman and David Crane.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you want to? Did you want to become an actor? Is this something you had a passion for? Or you wanted it? You had other stuff going on.
No, Well, I think when I was a kid, I've said this in my podcast. I mean, I was always building houses for my dolls or making Air Force bases and stuff. I really liked construction. I'd go in the dirt pile. I'd make cities. I think that had I been left alone to my own devices, that would have been my direction. Like I didn't like playing with dolls. I liked making houses for them. But because my mother and father both loved the cinema and all of that, I think that they were kind of hoping I would be like Grace Kelly, kind of win the Academy Award and then marry a king. I think that was kind of their agenda
and then
for me.
Die on a cliff.
Sort of, yeah.
She did. She flew off a cliff.
I know.
She's my favorite. I always think of
she was so
Betty
amazing.
Davis and Grace Kelly.
Unbelievable. Yeah. Really, really awesome. I agree. I liked Barbara Stanwyck too. She was pretty cool.
Yeah.
She was pretty cool. Yeah, I don't know. I think like my brother, I mean, he went to Harvard Law School and Business School, the first joint program they ever had. So there was something, it's because they didn't have the opportunities. Like my mother had gotten scholarships to a couple of universities and they needed her to work to make money. And I think that growing up as they were both in the Depression period and stuff, it just changes how you think about stuff. But yeah, I was very close with them and they were great. And my brother now he just moved to LA for part of the year. He's going to be in LA. So that's nice.
Do you think, I'll get off the death subject, but, well, look, you're a little older than I am, not much,
right.
But you've probably experienced more death than I have. Obviously the older you get, my grandmother is 95 and she has none of her friends are alive. None of the people she loved, except her, some of her, her immediate family. So I can't imagine. It's like, how do you deal? Do you start to become numb and just accepting? I just don't know how I'll deal with death.
I was talking with Kate Mulgrew about this because she was feeling that, like, oh, my friends are dying, and I had a really wonderful friend who died a couple of weeks ago, who was just a fantastic actor, Carol Locatell. But actually, I've had so many friends who are younger than me because I don't know if it was from teaching or what. I think when I moved to LA and left my New York community, because I had a real community of friends that were there, and it was harder to stay in touch with them. I think that changed, but I also have very close friends who are younger than I am, but we always hang, and I think that makes a difference. Just having a good cross section of friends. My friends are not all my age, and then of course. Probably the next Gen cast will just all die at the same time.
Yeah, that would make sense. This podcast is brought to you by Dove Men Plus Care. Guys, Do you get distracted during the day thinking about your underarms sweating or itching or emitting an odor? Oh. Do those thoughts keep you from showing care when it counts? New and improved Dove Men Plus Care Antiperspirant with 72-hour sweat and odor protection and 1/4 moisturizing cream helps you forget about your underarms so you can be present for the moments that matter. Don't let underarm insecurities keep you at arm's distance from the ones you care about. Buy new and improved Dove Men Plus Care Antiperspirant wherever personal care products are sold. This message is sponsored by Discover. Did you know you could reduce the number of unwanted calls and emails with online privacy protection? The latest innovation from Discover. Discover will help regularly remove your personal info, like your name and address, from 10 popular people search websites that could sell your data. And they'll do it for free. Activate in the Discover app. See terms and learn more at discover.com/online privacy protection. I find it interesting, and I hope you haven't told the story, but I know you have. But like when you started acting, you started getting work, you started seeing things are working out. I'm getting, but when you first got Star Trek Next Generation, I read that, is this true that they fired you after the first season?
Well, they don't call it firing. They say you're not asked back.
No, you were fired. No, but you know what here, like Maurice Hurley,
yes,
head writer and showrunner, did not like working with you, and at her demand, you were let go. Is that true?
It was a he.
Oh.
I think it is true.
Maurice,
I don't know that. I don't know that for sure. But here's the thing. I think they had, I had said no to Star Trek twice and went to do a play for $400 a week with Linda Hunt.
Yes.
So I was a person who came from this, let's change the world, let's do something. And I wasn't at all into the business aspect of, be it theater even, or cinema. That's not where I came from. I came from like, okay, guys, we're going to make this the best we can make. And so many of the things that I'd done had been collaborations, like complete collaborations with people. We would develop a piece. And I loved that. So when or it was a brand new play, and then we'd have weeks to work on it. So I didn't get this whole Hollywood thing. And there really are politics.
Oh.
Yeah, well, I didn't know that. And I think, and also it was a different time. They wanted women to look pretty and be a certain way, but they really didn't want you to speak up as if you were their equal, I think. So I don't know. I think I definitely pissed him off, Maurice Hurley, because I kept saying, why is it that I've raised this genius kid, Will Wheaton's character, Wesley Crusher. I mean, the guy's saved the ship so many times, right? And audiences didn't like that in the beginning. But I mean, clearly I had something to do with it. It wasn't just this dead husband. And yet every time there's anything even possibly serious, it's only the male characters that talk to him. And I know he doesn't have a dad, but all you ever have Beverly Crusher doing is, oh, Wesley, why didn't you do that? And I'm like, wait a minute, she's a scientist. I'm not buying this. This is like Leave It to Beaver kind of mother thing.
Yeah.
And so I had a problem with it. And
Sure.
I thought I thought Angel 1 was a really silly sexist script of there's this planet of women and they're doing really well and they all happen to be really good looking, which is fortunate. But then
That's my kind of planet. No, I'm kidding.
And then all of a sudden, Will Riker, Jonathan Frakes, goes down, and they lose their mind because it's a man. It's a man. I mean, things like that. And I think that really I know it did piss him off. And Gene didn't love it either. So, especially since I had been I'm not sure I want to do this in the beginning.
Right.
So that's what happened. And whereas my agent had said, oh no, your character's like the third most popular character, blah, blah, blah. I have no idea of any fact
Because
on
it was in
any of
social
this.
media when it first started.
No,
right.
there wasn't.
Right.
But you had sort of like people would still rate things or something.
Right.
Anyway, I have no idea. But then I thought that was over. And I went and did a play in New York and did Hunt for Red October, which was supposed to go into being in the second movie. And then Alec Baldwin asked for too much money and they recast both characters. Yeah. So there you go. But I did do a play that I loved in New York City, and it was very
It's fulfilling.
It was actually. I loved doing it.
Yeah, I love that. But but then they asked you back.
Yeah.
And for season 3.
Yeah.
And you were probably like, F you.
You know, it was weird because it was Patrick who first called me. And
Wow.
Patrick said, it's not working so well, darling, you know. And would you consider coming back? And then Rick Berman called me. I think it was probably Rick and Patrick who talked the studio into having me back. Or not the studio, but I think Gene was, because Gene loved Diana Muldaur. He had worked with her for a long time, and it was more of that kind of the character of Bones, but as a female. Anyway, my agent was a huge Star Trek fan, and she was more upset at not being brought back than I was. And so she was so chomping at the bit to get me back on. And I said, I want to make sure that it's really the character who's the love interest of Picard, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And she said, yep, same character. That's what they said. And of course it wasn't. It took a long time for the character to sort of find its way, because it was sort of like Diana Muldaur's character. They had, you know how they get scripts ahead. And if I had been smarter about the whole system, I probably would have said, well, let's see some of these scripts or something. But I just wasn't.
But I mean, I hope you fired your agent.
I didn't fire my agent. No, I don't.
Because
I
they
just
do
don't
that.
do that. I know, but I don't do things like that,
Yeah.
really. I don't know. There's so many things that
No, neither do I. I don't do that.
I don't.
I
mean,
do it when it's
should.
warranted. Look, I've had 2 managers in my life.
Yeah,
That's it. I've had usually I've stayed with my last agent, who is my agent now, for many years. But you have to know it's a business, and what they do is they want to get you in something so they can make money, and then you're out of sight.
I know,
And
but
you
on the
won't
other
bother
hand,
them.
I agree. But on the other hand, you know, she was the one who talked me into going up in the first place.
Right.
That was a fluke. I was on my way to the airport, and she's from something else I had tested for. She's like, no, you've got to. They have, you know, I mean, that was a fluke. So again, I think what's weird and what I realize now in my life, I'm putting together the fact that like sort of 3 of the most important things in my life have kind of come through the back door. Like I've said, no, 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 no. And then finally I go, okay. And they end up being something that is on some level or another life-changing. It's not like it's all
What
good.
are those things?
Well, one was doing Star Trek, okay, because I said no twice.
Right.
And the other one was I said no to Labyrinth a bunch of times, working with Jim Henson. And then I said no to the podcast. And I think what I've learned from the podcast is that no matter how much I complain, I actually like learning new skills. And I like sort of testing myself on, you know, can I do this? And what is that?
Give it your best shot. Like, I want to be successful. I want this to work.
I don't know. I don't think it's that.
No?
No, I think it's more like, what is this? Is this something I like? Is this something I don't like? Oh, here's how you edit. Oh, that can really change how something appears. I love that. I'm interested more in, it's like teaching was that way. I didn't go off trying to be a teacher. It was thrust upon me because I was recommended by my teacher. And it just happened, and it was better than cleaning motel rooms, right?
Yeah.
So that's how the teaching started. I was teaching all different places in both New York and Cambridge, taking the Greyhound bus, making paper mache masks for my mask class. And, you know, I mean, I worked my butt off for it. But again, I got to direct, and that's what I loved. I directed a lot of plays when I was in academia. And I really think those are some of the best things. I really love directing theater a lot. And that's why, I built a theater in LA, you know? I mean, I didn't want to be really artistic director of this theater, but then the only thing...
It's still here, too.
Yeah. Oh,
What's it called?
It's successful. Well, it's the Atwater Village Theater.
Yep.
And the Echo, a lot of companies now sort of take credit for it, but I know it was me, the first person who went in there. And I sold almost all my memorabilia, and put the money into building it.
Wow.
And that, again, is going back to building something. Go back to being a little kid. I think I love building things from the ground up a lot. I don't care if it's a theater piece, if it's, I love collaboration of that sort where you can get into arguments, but it's about what making the piece the best it can be.
Yeah.
And that to me is where I am happiest. I don't care if it's even, you're doing a recipe. It's like, I love that kind of experimenting, trying to figure that out.
I love that. That's inspirational. I wish, it's not that I'm not like that, but I feel like I see something, I have a great idea. It's hard for me to want it to, I want it to come to fruition, but all the work it will take is daunting usually. And I'm kind of like, just don't think I'm going to be able to have the time to do that.
Well, I hear you.
Because I'm not going to make the time to do it. And it's just so much, you have to pick your battles and pick your passions and pick your, and sometimes you're like, I could have put more work into that. I could have put, or am I wasting my time on something that I really don't love doing?
Right.
And that's something I've thought about for a while with acting. It's something that I think I was good at. I worked hard. I became successful. So I'm like, why don't I want to do this as much? And I'm sure there are a lot of different reasons, working hard and then nothing comes, it doesn't do well, not, it just, there's a lot of things. And then 14 hours on set, all these things that I just was like, I like sitting here.
Yeah.
This is fun. I get to see Ryan's handsome face every day. I get to see your beautiful face. I meet new people. I'm good with people. And but I feel guilty. There's that side of me that's going, why aren't you doing that? And your agents and all these people are saying, dude, why aren't you acting more?
Well, I wish I was acting more. I would really.
You love acting.
I love acting. I really do.
But you are acting. You're on Picard.
Yeah, I know. But I wish people would let me do some of the character and funny stuff. I remember going in and doing a pratfall in my spike heels, like in early, in the 80s sometimes, and people just freaked out. Whereas I knew how to do pratfalls.
You were like a Chevy Chase from the 80s, right?
I was. I love that
Me
kind of
too.
stuff. I love
physical.
Yeah, I love physical stuff like that. And I also love being like a Margaret Dumont character. I'm a really good, mean straight. I love all that thing. What happens when you get out here is people see you as only a certain way, and
it's a shame because I could see, like, I'm looking at you, and I'll be honest, I wasn't a big Star Trek fan. I'm a Star Wars fan. So I've sort of been, I dabble in it and I'm like, hey, this is pretty cool. But I haven't gone in deep like a lot of the people listening are, a lot of Star Trek fans or will become fans of yours. Right. But where was I going with that, Ryan?
You were about, I could see that or something.
Oh, yeah. And you. Yes. What I'm saying
Let's talk about me, please.
But no, it's true. I look at you and even when you were doing that Russian character a little while ago, I was like, she could probably do anything. I could just see you as, I don't know why you're not like.
I love to do accents. I did accents when I did stage stuff in New York. And I don't know. I think it's because I started getting an agent and doing it in the business when I was already in my 30s, and I think I did a whole bunch of stuff that was just like less on the radar. I was working on experimental projects and doing stuff like that. I don't know. I think the European model was one that I was more comfortable with, where you really had time to develop stuff. No one has time to develop projects anymore.
I'd cast you in something for sure. That's what's going on in my head, thinking of projects that I'm going to create and do, and like things that I'm doing. I'm like, there's got to be something. Something for Gates. No,
I know.
I'd write a character. I think you're just super talented and super fun to work with. And I can't believe, like, you're older than I thought. When I met you at a con and then at the airport.
Right.
I was like, she's probably in her early 60s,
Yeah.
It's just like, I don't know.
Well, I think I have never seemed the age that I really am. When I was younger, I always seemed older. And as I got older, I always seemed younger. And that's really the truth. Like I was faking my age with agents in Ohio and going to Oil City, Pennsylvania, falsies in my costume in sequins.
Falsies?
Yeah. Well, I was like 14. Yeah.
Right.
I was. They called them falsies then. They were like, I don't know, they different from what they have now, I'm sure.
Or fakies. Falsies, fakies.
Exactly. And then I was like 14 and my mother would pull this makeup on me and I'd sing, I'd sing a song, Basin Street, and I'd start the tap dance and then take off the skirt and tap a little more. And, I'd have like a trumpet player, a guitar player, and a drummer. And then the host would say, yeah, let's see it again. She's the Anne Margaret of Ohio. Do it again. Give her another round. And then they'd want me to do that number again. And I'm going, your smile, when you have lipstick on, your smile is fixed.
But you made yourself look older.
Yes.
Older than you were.
Yes.
And by the way, I could see the Anne Margaret thing. Did you have sex with Elvis? No.
Oh, if only.
Would you have?
Well,
If you met Elvis one night after show, goes, hey, how you doing? And you just said, hey, let's go to my room up at the.
I think I would have tried to say, why don't we just tell stories to each other?
No, thanks, baby. I need a storytelling. I won't do that on stage.
Well, you never know. When he was young, oh yeah, but then,
Yeah, then the drugs and the toilet and all that stuff, that didn't work out.
Poor
But,
Elvis.
we were talking about cons.
Yes.
And that's where we met. And we both do the cons.
I met you at an airport.
Yeah, we met at an airport first. I think I came up to your table at
I
a
don't
con
think
once.
so,
You don't
no.
remember me.
No, because you
Anyway.
liked Star Wars. See, that you're thinking of.
No, but
Carrie
it's not that I
Fisher.
don't like Star Trek. I do. I just am not as deeply invested as.
Take a note on that, please.
Take a
would
note
you?
on that.
All
No,
right.
but
I wrote down sex with Elvis, and now I'm on the next thing. So.
Okay, good.
but and I know, like, for instance, one of my co-stars, she had like a stalker. She had someone come to the show.
Oh, really? At the show?
and they like
Really?
like, got him out of the like he showed up, and that was somebody who was sending these messages on Instagram.
Oh, it's so creepy.
And it's so creepy. And I know that you had something like that. And she was really, I was like, what can I do? I'll go handle it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
and you stopped going to cons because of it.
No. I was afraid to go to them. I was stalked when I was teaching at University of Pittsburgh.
What?
Yep. And it was terrifying. It was before the Stalker law was even, before Rebecca Schaefer was murdered. And it was really, really scary. Then when I wanted to get out of there and there was nothing I could do, he would just be everywhere. He would know when my lights were off. I mean, no matter what, I'd get big missives that he would write, and I'd tear them up, and then I'd just go a few paces away, and then there'd be a new one that would be in my purse. I'd like, how is this happening? It was like really scary. Wow. And he followed me when I changed jobs and went to Brandeis, and then he had written all these open postcards. I didn't even know the people who had hired me. I'd met them once when I had, you're sent and you're supposed to be tested, like, do the students like her? You teach for a day, right? You teach all the classes, and then they decide if they want to hire you. And I got this offer as an assistant professor. And I arrived there the first day in the office, and all the people in the office are looking at each other like, yes, well, here's some cards that have arrived. They're sort of personal. And it was like cards that he had written talking about our relationship and all of which was fabricated.
And they didn't know. They're like,
they didn't know. It was so weird. And then that winter, like in December, there was a huge snowstorm. And 9 feet of snow had fallen. And we were all trying to dig our cars out. So I had gotten an apartment in Cambridge, and there were some people, we were all on the street trying to dig out the street. And there's a guy who, we had seen each other, and he taught photography at RISD, Rhode Island School of Design. And we were doing it for hours. And he said, hey, you want to come up for my place? Was just to have a hot toddy or something. And I said, sure. I'd never met him. That was the first time I'd met him. I go up, the guy's preparing a drink, and there's a knock on the door, and open up, and there is my stalker. And he grabs me by the hair. I mean, it was like amazing. And
what?
Yeah. I mean, here he is in another state on a snowy night, and he looked like Tony Perkins in Psycho. It was like scary. And this other guy had a fake gun, and he went and got it. And then we called the police, and the police said, there's nothing we can do until he hurts you. And I said, well, he grabbed me, he assaulted me in that way. And they said, no, but are there bruises? And I went, well, no, because
are you fucking kidding me?
So I slept with a butcher knife under my pillow for quite a while.
How did it end?
It just sort of trailed off. He sent me dead flowers. I just sort of trailed off.
Dead flowers.
And I never knew when I'd run into him. Look, the guy probably had mental illness. I'm sure that he's
probably.
Well, I don't want to, what if he was really someone who just, I don't know. It was Really scary, though. And that's why I didn't want to go to cons, because I thought I'd see him.
Because you're almost inviting him inadvertently, like, look, I'll be at here. I'll be right.
So I sort of was like always trying to not do stuff like that. Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry you had to deal with that. That has to be the most terrifying. Like he thought he owns you.
Yeah, well, no, and you fabricate. It's amazing, actually. You cannot say anything. He was a graduate student. Well, I shouldn't say more details because I don't want him to. Anyway, they will, no matter what you say, it feeds into something that they're going to justify.
Yeah.
So you just can't engage. And I'll tell you, this was the most weird thing. Is so I was teaching a class called Playwriting Through Improvisation. And the very first day, this was like my second year, I'd been teaching it there. And there's like 40 students. And he's in the class, and he's like, I have to talk to you. I have to talk to you right now. I have to go out in the hall. And I'm like, well, can't it wait for after? No, it has to be now. And that's when it started. And he just went, we are lovers. We've been lovers. We have to stop doing. I mean, it was just like this whole fabricated thing. And
you're like, you have to go.
I was like, this is my class. Yeah. I mean, I was really young. I was in.
Oh my God,
I was in my 20s. It was like scary.
And it's people. Men don't understand how invasive, how intrusive.
Yeah.
And I, on a smaller scale, I've had a couple where I'm doing stand up and someone shows up that she's always showing up where I am. Hey. And I'm like, how's it going? How are you? Oh, cool. And this time I'm about to go on stage. I go, I'm going to go on stage. And she goes, look, grabs my hand. We have something here. Mm-hmm. And I go, what are you talking about? I listened to your podcast. You're single. I go, no, actually, I'm dating someone. She goes, no, you're not.
Right.
And it was intense. I go, all right, you've crossed the line. Stop it. Stop it. I've been a nice guy to you. I don't want to deal with this anymore. I'm going on stage. Goodbye. And then I fucked off,
It's easier for guys to do that, I think.
That's why I'm saying it's easier for guys to do that.
And maybe women can do it more easily in my generation, in the younger generations. But in my generation, it was pretty tough. I mean, because when I would ever speak in that sort of way, I mean, that's when they'll fire you. They don't want really. I think that, and again, maybe that's just my projection. Maybe I was just a complete asshole and deserved to be.
No,
I don't know. One never knows the other side of something, but. It's awkward. It's weird when someone's.
All right, let's go to a happy place.
Okay.
I hope it was a happy place. Jim Henson, working with Jim Henson, was maybe not. Was he? Because look, you get this sort of, in my perception, and I guess a lot of the people in the world, this quiet, reserved genius who. Is humble. I don't know. I don't know anything about him other than he created the Muppets and wow, this is great. But I'm looking at you right now and I'm saying, well, maybe he wasn't the nicest person to work with.
Let me say this about working there. I love Kermit. Okay. Kermit is definitely very special to me.
Why is that?
I think it's how he copes with being green. I think he really is a coper. He knows how to just deal with that. And he's just very lovable. He really is. We communed. It was good. It was there. Yeah, no, he was good. I think it's a lot like Beirut. You go and he lets people fight it out. He really puts a group of terrific people together, but they might not all work together well. And you have to sort of fight it out. It was something that was the only reason I took it was because I had lost 2 other fabulous jobs because I had a skiing accident. I was supposed to be in Hannah and Her Sisters. I had 5 scenes. Part was just cut out. And I also was shooting a television thing, and it was going to be a 2-month gig. And I had shot, I think, a day, and I was recast because I almost died. But my life was saved. And so, I mean, that was a good thing. But things had been going really well acting-wise. And that was the period where... And Jim had seen me do Cloud 9, Tommy Toon's production of Cloud 9. I was a replacement cast. Brilliant play. It was how I got my equity card, actually. I did it for, I don't know, quite a few months. And what an amazing... It was the triple role. It was fabulous. And he had seen me do that. I didn't know it, but he had seen me do that. And he knew I was teaching at NYU Tisch at the graduate program. He knew I was teaching acting stuff and doing comedy. I was doing clown in the theatrical clown. I taught that for years.
And movement. And
Well, yeah, but mainly at that point it was theatrical clown, which was really about finding your own comic persona, your own point of view of the world, and just being so present, And anyway, I think it was just this tough time for me. And I went, well, I have to earn some money. And so I said yes. I had done this other... So I said yes, and then he had me do this other movie sort of to try me out. And I loved that process. It was with a director named Gavin Miller. And it was called Dream Child. With Ian Holm,
wow.
Coral Brown, and Peter Gallagher, and Jane Asher. And I was in charge of directing the fantasy sequences for Gavin Miller. So I would direct all of these fantasy sequences with the Mad Hatter and all of this stuff.
And he liked that.
And then he would say, yeah, how about I like this version. I would give him like 3 choices. And he'd say, I like this, and can you do that? And it was great. And I loved the way he directed. It was super fun, even though it was like a condensed period, and I had never done any of this before. Again, it was like,
you're building it. You're creating it.
Well, I didn't work with, the animatronics. It's like you'd have all these buttons, and just to do the Mad Hatter mouth, there were 7 people on it, on the face. 7 people. You had people doing the jaw up and down. Then you had people doing the lips. You had people doing the eyes, the eyelids.
Anyone messes up, it doesn't
well,
work.
exactly. And then you have 3 or 4 characters in the same setup. And then we had a live British actor who I would have do the voice. I mean, it was complicated. So anyway, I ended up doing it. It was a year of my life. And then Frank Oz said, do you want to do Little Shop of Horrors and do The Plant? And I went, no, I think I want to go back and do acting. Thank you very much. And I loved Frank. But it wasn't my genre. What can I say?
Did you have him do the Yoda voice?
No, I didn't. No.
I would have done it. Frank, can you ask me in your Yoda voice and I'll consider it? Join me. Little Shop of Horrors. I'm sorry, that's terrible.
It was really fun working with David Bowie, though. I'll say that.
But Labyrinth, then you went to Labyrinth.
Labyrinth, yeah. David Bowie was amazing.
He was amazing.
Well, he was amazing. I don't think I think I was shy, and I cover up shyness by being businesslike or something,
Yeah.
I think so. I think that had I really allowed myself to just go, wow, David effing Bowie. Wow. He was so cool. Just because he was so unpretentious.
Yeah.
And so gifted. I mean, there's very few people who could pull off that character. I want to tell you. Really.
I love David Bowie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved his last video. My God, that was so...
the documentary?
Well, no, but his last music video he made.
Yeah.
Lazarus. I mean, it's just like amazing.
Yeah. He was revolutionary.
He really
sure.
was.
I mean,
he really was in so many ways.
So, God, you've done all this stuff. It's just unbelievable. I could talk to you forever. Picard. This is, what is this? Season 3?
Yeah, season 3, the final season of Picard. Yeah. The series.
Right. What can you tell us the biggest secret?
It's been shown. It's done. They've aired it.
With data.
Data.
I always say that.
I know. I love it. It
with
drives
data.
him
It was
crazy.
a huge reveal.
Well, there were lots of reveals.
What's your favorite reveal besides data?
No, the reveals were all over the place. It's the fact that I had a son that Picard didn't know about, and it was his son. That's the biggest reveal.
That is the biggest reveal.
That was the biggest one.
When you read that, were you like, oh my God?
Well, I knew that it was there because if it hadn't been an interesting storyline, I don't think I would have done it. I think that might be true for several of us. But because the parts had been pretty much nothing for my character in the movies. It was just like, right, we got to put her in a couple
That's
scenes.
got to be so annoying.
Well, it's disappointing. I mean, they'll pay you.
Yeah.
Annoying isn't the word, but it is disappointing.
You want to be more of an integral part of it.
Again, it goes back to the thing. It's for me, it's not about. I mean, I'm sure there's tremendous ego. I'm sure all sorts of things. But I know for me, I am happiest. I don't care whether I'm directing at the 99-seat theater, 100-seat theater in Atwater Village. I forget to eat. I forget I'm hungry. I forget if it's the process. I get into the process. I really do. I mean, it's not bullshit. I really do love it. I don't care if it's teaching, it's watching the people get it, watching the
And if you don't feel like you're a real part of the process, you feel like sort of bored.
You feel bored or disappointed, or you feel ancillary. You're just not. It's not very important, and
it's
then
not challenging.
And then you go, okay. People go, I'm doing this, and they're paying me that much, and I don't. It's tricky, I would much rather feel really great about the part of what it is, or be challenged in some way.
But you love the show.
I do. I think it's. I mean, and I've learned how to love it. I didn't watch Star Trek. I didn't watch Star Wars either. I mean, I didn't have a TV when I lived in New York. I know. No. Seriously. But I think, by meeting the fans, I've met some really interesting people. And you learn about the economy and the socioeconomic situation of the United States of America when you go to these places. And, you can tell where you're near a military base or in the South when it's like, yes, ma'am, yes, ma'am, yes, ma'am. And other places it's not. And there are places where people obviously don't have dental care and their teeth are just like, so you learn a lot. And most of the people really believe in the future and they care about it. And it's not so much, I don't think they just go, oh, you're Dr. Crusher. I don't think so. I think it's more like they believe in what the whole mishigas of Star Trek is.
Mishigas?
Yeah.
I don't use that word. You? What's mishigas? The whole story? Gestalt.
Okay.
The Gestalt.
Yeah, the Gestalt.
Can you do a good German accent? Sprechen Sie etwas Deutsch? Können Sie lesen und schreiben?
Yes, I'm not going to do it for you right now.
Fine. But it was a great experience. The Picard, it turned out to be. Oh,
it was great. I mean, Terry Metalis, I cannot shout his name enough. He really was just fantastic. He was the showrunner. He was the guy who was the head of it all. And he really, really took care of all of us. Everybody has great moments. And that's really hard to do with a big cast. And we were. And he did it. I think he honored everybody's characters. And he listened to people's input on things. And I think they cast the tiniest parts brilliantly. Amanda Plummer's amazing.
So important.
Oh, it is.
The little parts are the most important.
Really.
If you forget about those, it takes you out of it.
It does. And these people were like on it. They were so, so talented. Every single one of them. I was very blown away by them.
Who makes you laugh the most when you're acting with them on out of the Star Trek guys?
Oh, there's not one. I mean, Brent's very funny. It depends. Everybody can be very funny.
Patrick's even funny?
At times, yes. Yeah.
Who's the most moody?
Well, Brent would probably say me, but others would say Michael Dorn. So I don't know.
Could be a little moody, but you guys get each other. You just know.
Oh, we do.
All right, this is called ShitTalkin with Gates McFadden. These are the top tier patrons. It's rapid fire.
Okay, I don't know this at all. So
no, it's ShitTalkin with Gates McFadden. So I just ask you questions from my patrons.
Oh, I see.
Patreon.com/inside of you. I love you. Thank you for all your support, as you know. And so you rapid fire. If you really want to take the time, do it. Leanne, how do you feel about the progression of Dr. Crusher and Picard? Do you feel she is a good role model for young women?
Yes, absolutely. I think she's ethical and she does it. She can fire those weapons and she walks the walk.
Michelle K., I heard you got to work with David Bowie in Labyrinth, which you talked about. You already talked about that experience. Was there any one particular story that you remember with David?
Well, what I remember is he came in looking really tired one morning, and I was like, okay, so we're going to start and do this. And he went, I'm tired. He said, yeah, Mick and I were up all night. We shot the video Dancing in the Streets last night, and they hadn't slept. And I'm like, there's like the fangirl in me going, oh my God, I wish I could have been there. And
Dancing in the streets. California air.
That's right.
That's amazing. 99 more. Did you take the chair with you or any other items from set?
For Picard, no. They were
Nothing.
honest. No, I wanted the jacket. I wanted any of my jackets. I loved Michael Crow's designs for me. I had some hot
And
jackets.
you didn't want to take anything?
If I couldn't take the one jacket, forget it. There was, no.
Do you have anything at your house from any of the Star Trek movies?
Not really in my house. I have some stuff in the storage thing that I always sell stuff because I have a website and I put things for sale there, but it's almost always for the theater or some project that's an original project.
What is that website that people can donate?
It's called GatesMcFadden.com. And I've got all kinds of stuff up in there, and they can find out where I'm going to be and which conventions.
Ooh.
Oh, yes.
I like it. Raj, tell me about a personal or professional goal you are currently striving to achieve.
Well, I can't talk about one of the things. I would definitely, I'll tell you what I'm striving to achieve is my frickin' remodel, new construction in my house that because of COVID has been going on for 3 years, and I'm living in the back room. Of course, the back room is bigger than my New York studio apartment was, but still, that's what, I love architecture. I love design. So I'm very, very involved. I know what I want. But I want to do more acting. That's what I want to do. But I also am trying to do some writing, and we'll see. And there is a project that I can't talk about. But I'm just waiting for those acting roles to just come on in.
Oh, they will.
Yeah.
DJ Kento, by the way, you were in War of the Worlds?
Well, I was in the John Delancey version.
Right, she said.
With Nimoy.
Absolutely wonderful version of War of the Worlds where they gender swapped the lead for her, and she crushed it. Got me through a very scary ER trip before COVID. Always wanted to thank her for that.
Well, thank you for listening. Glad you liked it.
Bill Murray once kissed you, and you were in the audience.
How'd you know that? Somebody said that, or
He found it.
Unbelievable. Well, here's what was funny about that is. So some fan said, "Oh yeah," on Twitter or something. "Yeah, Bill Murray." And I went, "No, I never was kissed by Bill Murray on Saturday Night Live." And they said, "Yeah, you were in the audience." I said, "No, I wasn't." They showed me the video, and I couldn't even recognize myself except for one thing. I knit the sweater I was wearing, and I remembered the sweater because it took me a long time to knit it, and I kept it for decades. I wore that thing out, and I went, it's got to be me because that is my sweater. I mean, that was like this very striped weird thing.
Was it a big kiss?
Oh, he went right in. Yeah.
Tongue?
Oh yeah.
No.
He did.
You didn't know him. He just went up to you in the audience.
No. What happened was because first of all, it's kind of come back to me vaguely. There was somebody in New York who worked on Saturday Night Live, who was a friend of mine. And she said, "We've got to go. I've got his seats. Let's do it." And I thought, well, that'd be fun. Sure, I'd love to. And I do remember now that it was very specific that we were sitting right in the front row. So I think she knew that this was going to happen. I had no idea it was going to happen. So he jumped off the stage. Yeah, and he played some big old kiss. He wouldn't be able to do it now because, no. But
were you kind of like, whoa?
I was like, "Bill, give me your phone number. I'll call you."
I'm surprised he didn't call you or try to get in touch with you.
Why would he?
I don't know. You're beautiful.
Yeah. Okay.
He's Bill Murray.
Okay.
What do you mean? I mean, back then, I'm surprised. Like now, you hear all that stuff with Bill Murray, and you're like,
I know. Well, whatever.
Isn't it something? I hate. You find out about your heroes, and
I was on the Cosby Show, and
that's
I
right.
am thanking my stars that his wife's best friend, Carmen de Lavalade or something, was on the show that episode too. So his wife was around. And I'm like, I'm glad that was happening because who knows?
Jesus. Was he nice to work with then? Do you remember him?
Well, he was like, oh, come on. I just like 3 lines or something. I don't know.
Oh, right. No. Jeez. You had such a life. Look at you.
Such a life. 3 lines here.
Not that. No, I mean, look. I was on Smallville. It's the gift that keeps on giving. You go to cons. You do this.
Well, my other thing is that I have this little house in France, which I did the electrical plan, the plumbing plan. I designed the whole thing, and it was, and it's not a big. We're not talking chateau. We're talking just non-touristy village. And it took me 16 years to get it together. And I love this place. It's kind of, I'm going there. Like, so I'm so excited when I walk in.
Yeah, go tomorrow.
Yeah. And I'm so excited when I walk in and I just go, yeah, this is me. This is really like, I love the place. It makes me very happy. So I can't wait to take the walks on it and everything. Because when I studied, I was the first person in my family to go to any foreign country. And I got a scholarship to study with Jacques Lecoq in Paris. So I went there.
Jacques Lecoq?
Jacques Lecoq.
Jacques Lecoq.
My dad would say Lecoq, yeah. But anyway, he was pretty amazing. And that so changed my life. And that was really daring. All my other friends from Brandeis were going to get agents in New York. I didn't get an agent until I was in my 30s. I just I didn't understand it. Like, obviously, I might have had a much better career it just took me a long time to understand so many things.
Glass, I'm not going to take any more of your time. This has been awesome, and I'm going to let you go because you have so much to do, and your GPS, I hope to God, will work.
Oh, shut up.
No, but do you think...
If it doesn't, I'm coming back, and I'm taking one of your dogs. Okay,
you
go ahead.
You can take the puppy. But you're so well-versed. You do all these things. You teach, you act, choreograph, you have build projects, you theater, all this stuff. It could seem a little intimidating.
Why?
To
whom?
To some men probably, because you don't really need them.
Oh, it's...
You know what I mean? Like, you met... how long have you been married?
Well, I'm now divorced.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay, well.
That feeds into that.
But you were married a long time.
Well, I'm a serial monogamist. That's who I am. I happen to adore men, actually. So, I think... I don't know.
But does a guy have...
men.
But what I'm saying is, does a man that you're seeing... Does a guy that you're seeing, does he have to do a lot of these things, like be hands-on? Or
no,
could you date someone who's not...
Totally. Are you kidding?
Really?
Oh, yeah.
So have your own thing.
Yeah. Just be not...
be kind. And handsome.
Just be present. Super handsome. Super...
Yeah, exactly.
No, but I really think it's about... I like people who feel okay with themselves. I find that very attractive. People who really like who they are.
Yeah. I like that.
So,
that's important.
So
you gotta love yourself. I always say that.
That's sexy to me. That is a big thing. And I think that's probably true with women. So what can I tell you? I don't know.
No, I love it. I was thinking, because I think it was like, I was thinking of myself going, man, I wonder if I could, would I be enough for a woman who does so much?
Well, let me give you a strength test and then I'll give you an answer.
Okay,
No.
Should I be honest with you? No. I was hoping you'd give me it. I was like, oh my God, you should give me a test. Thank you for being here. It means the world that you showed up.
Thank you.
I knew you were busy and you're like, can we switch it? And you got your stuff going on. So you came here. If you ever want me on your podcast, I'm there.
Oh, nice. Thank you.
I really adore you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much. All right. Be cool. Bye.
That was a lot of fun, man. I really enjoyed her. I didn't know how she would be, and she was just lovely. You were here. Mm-hmm. Wasn't she just freaking lovely?
She was.
Beautiful and talented and insightful. And thank you, Gates. I can go on about you. Again, join patreon.com/inside of you to get back to the podcast inside of you. We need you. We love you. I think we thrive on patrons support. Without them, I don't know what we do. Also, I just did a YouTube live with my patrons. That was a lot of fun. I play guitar. I answer their questions. All right. Thank you for listening. Inside of You online store is hot. Lots of cool shit going on. Ryan, anything in your life you want to discuss?
In my life?
Still going to BetterHelp? BetterHelp.com/inside of you.
I am.
Or inside.
I'm trying to drink more water.
I know.
Trying to clear my throat.
I am too. Everybody's getting sick lately. My friend Jess is sick. That's all I can think of right now. It doesn't sound like very many. Maybe I only have one friend. Top tiers. This is the top tier patrons. They give a lot to the show, as you know. Patreon.com/inside you. Here we go. Nancy D, Leah S, Little Lisa, Yukiko, Jill E, Brian H, Nico P, Robert B, Jason W, Sophie M, Raj C, Joshua D, Jennifer N. I just sent boxes to all these folks. I'm almost positive a lot of these people I did. It was their turn. And we sent boxes. Joe comes over. We go through each box. Oh, this is a 3-year patron. Oh, they get a little more here. oh, this is the first time this person has a box. Oh, okay. Well, they're going to get, some cool stuff and a little note from me. And we do that. Jennifer N, Stacy L, Jamal F, Janelle
B.
Correct. Mike E. Eldon Supremo, 99 more. Santiago M. Chad W. Leanne P. Maya P. Maddie S. Belinda N. Dave H. Sheila G. Dave H. Dave Ray H. H. Harada. I like saying Dave H. because, hey, Michael, how are you? He's just, I always say he's just lovely. I love his accent. He's just very, well, everything's going all right. Just working, working. He's very calm.
Is he in the Rolling Stones?
He's a Rolling Stone. But I love Dave Hall. I love seeing him.
Keith and Mick.
Hey,
Nice, like.
Yeah, Dave and Mick, like this. He's like, I listen to him sort of view, and, it's all right. It's not complete shite.
No, it's all right, isn't it?
Tabitha T, Tom N, Talia M, Betsy D. Where are you, Betsy? I miss Betsy. Chad B, Angel M, Randon C, Corey K, Deb Nexon, Michelle A, Jeremy C, Brandy D, Joey M, Eugene and Leah. Always love seeing you guys. Always. Love seeing all of you. Corey, Heather L, Jake B, Angela F, Mel S, Orlando C, Caroline R, Christine S, Eric H, Shane R, Andrew M. You know what's funny, besides clowns and Buddy Hackett, is, if I have allergies, if I don't say something about it, I'll feel like, a lot of something. I don't like when people do this. It's not just like listeners, it's friends. They'll say things like, you ever have a friend you see them, they're like, you look skinny. Are you okay? I'm like, oh God, fuck. Or you look tired.
Yeah.
I'm like, if I know I look tired and then you're saying you look tired, now it's in my head.
Yeah.
What can I do? It stresses me out.
Yeah.
On today's show, you sounded really just not happy. Leave it. I love you. I know you're concerned, but leave it.
That's why you have friends and therapists.
Yeah. If my doctor says, Michael, Dr. Unger, Michael, you lost a little weight here. You might want to, your enzymes are, then I'll listen to him. Yeah. He's my doctor. Andrew M. Tim L. Amanda R. Jen B. Kevin E. Pick my nose real quick. Stephanie K. Jor L. Jammin J. Leanne J. Luna R. Mike F. Stone H. Brian L. Katie B. Aaron R. Kendall L. Meredith I. Kara C. Jessica B. Kyle F. Marisol P. Estevan G. Kaylee J. Brian A. Ashley F. Al V. Marion Louise L. Romeo the Band. Veronica Q. Frank B., The Weird Scientist, Chris D., and Jen T. Guys, I love you. I really appreciate you. Thanks for listening to the podcast. I hope you enjoyed this one. If you're new, please write a review and subscribe and spread the word. From Michael Rosenbaum here in the Hollywood Hills of California.
This is Michael Rosenbaum. I'm Ryan Tez, and I'm also here.
This is Ryan
in
Tez.
the Hollywood Hills.
Yeah, it's Ryan Tez. I couldn't do it without Ryan Tez.
No, I can't do it.
Little wave to the camera. We love you guys. Be good to yourself. I'll see you next week. Bye.